Now I'd like to take a moment to ensure that everyone is familiar with the webinar control panel and how to pose questions to your presenter today. First, you should have a control panel on the right side of your screen, similar to the image that you're seeing here on this slide. If you don't, the control panel can be accessed by going to the orange clover icon that's in your taskbar and clicking it, and that'll open the control panel itself. You have the ability to submit questions during the webinar using the questions feature within the control panel. The question module is highlighted with a red frame on this presentation slide. If you wouldn't mind, if you could just simply type in a question into the interface itself, whether you wanted to say hello or good afternoon or good morning, depending if you're on the West Coast, or just, oh yeah, it'd be great just to make sure that you're familiar with how to use this interface. Thank you, Robbie, much appreciated. Mike, thank you, sir. Love the oh yeah. Glad everyone seems to be very familiar with how to use the GoToWebinar interface. Finally, I want to let you know that there will be a Q&A session with your presenter that's going to be held at the conclusion of this presentation. If we do run out of time and are not able to address your questions during this webinar, our presenter will follow up with you directly. I'd like to remind you that your webinar is being recorded. Your microphones are muted, but you, of course, have the ability to ask questions via the chat feature that we've just reviewed. And of course, you'll be sent an email with a link to download this presentation as well as the webinar recording. It's now my privilege to introduce our presenter for today. Jafar Adibi is the CTO and Chief Scientist of Reunify and will be leading our conversation. Jafar has over 15 years of experience in big data, machine learning, social network analysis, and directing engineering teams to deliver innovative products. Prior to joining Reunify, he was a project lead at the Center for Advanced Research at Pricewaterhouse Coopers, where he directed R&D and recommendation systems, people-centric knowledge management, and social collaborative systems for client intelligence applications. He's a former research scientist at the USC Information Sciences Institute, where he developed linked discovery systems with applications in counterterrorism, business intelligence, and viral marketing. Jafar is the co-founder of Zayas Technologies and Clanova, two early-stage startups that focused on collective intelligence and discovering hidden relations among seemingly unrelated entities, respectively. He received his PhD in computer science from USC in 2002 and is a recipient of multiple national and international awards in computer science. Jafar, welcome to the Motionsoft Technology Summit Education Series.
All right. Thanks very much, Todd. Thanks for the great introduction, and then thank you for Motionsoft for providing such a platform for discussion and this webinar. My name is Jafar Adibi, and as Todd introduced, I'm the co-founder and CTO of Reunify. And today we'll talk about the science of customer engagement, realizing credible improvements in customer retention, loyalty, and satisfaction. The general question that every business owner asks is basically three major questions. The first one is how to attract customers, how to convert to consumers, and eventually how to enhance relationship. Basically, we would like to maximize customer lifetime value. We would like that our customers stay longer and spend more. That means maximizing customer lifetime value. But the business usually is not the way that we want. Just imagine this is your business, and my examples today is around fitness industry. And this is a typical amount count of customers. You start the business, people start coming, you have it growing in terms of membership, and you can see at some point it stops there and being flat or going down. So you start losing your customers, your members. And if specifically for fitness industry, you're going to be something like this. You start and you see new customers over time, and then people start leaving. And you might say that, okay, New Year resolution effect at the beginning of each year, and after summer effect, basically after each summer. People come and people go. So how should we address this? We believe the philosophy behind this should be that it's time time to invert the pyramid. And by pyramid, I mean that we have to put the CEO down in the pyramid, and then VPs and directors and GMs, and customers should be on the top. So everybody talks about the customer is the king, but how do you want to make sure that customer is on the top, and you have to address the customer's needs? You have to go do this in 3 steps. One, moving to a customer-centric point of view. This is very crucial. You have to put customer in the center and listen to the customer. The second step is to enabling localized bottom-up decision-making. That means you have to listen to the people in the floor, general manager, sales associate, member services. Whoever talks to your customer and members, they are important. We have to listen to them. Directors should listen to them, and VPs should listen to directors, and all the way goes to CEO. And finally, you have to make sure that you bring this insight actionable into the heart of the operation. So with this, you can see the major factor is here between customer and general managers. That means that relationship is very crucial. You need to improve that. You need to focus on that relationship. That means engagement. And the key factor here is customer engagement and interaction. That's the key factor. Let's look at some numbers. Some key stats: the fitness clubs, you know that the attrition rate is about 40% to 60%. Weight loss engagement average is 6 weeks. Acquisition cost is 5 times more than retention. And most valuable customers, as some study says that 20% of customers could make up to 80% of the revenue. That means you need to make sure that what is your focus and which group of customers you have to talk to. A couple of weeks ago, Dr. Paul Bedford had a great presentation as part of this webinar, and he published his study. Basically, he studied the member interaction effect. If in the fitness industry, if you have a right interaction with your members, what is the effect of that? He showed us that the visit frequency might increase up to 80%, the cancellation decrease up to 44%, 1-year membership could increase up to 46%, and tenureship increase up to 12 months. And everything is connected to member interaction effect. And then he also showed another interesting statistics. Basically, he says that 4 interactions this month means 8 times more likely to visit next month. So the question remains that, okay, you would like to have this interaction, you would love to have this engagement, but your question is that you have the club, you have your business, okay, you have 1,000, 500, couple of thousand, 10,000, depends on your business. To whom should you talk? How you need to go ahead and pick the right one to talk to. To do this, you need to answer 3 questions, basically. First of all, you have to figure out who do you engage with. This is very crucial. And the second one, when is the right time to engage with that person? And the last one is, how do you make an engagement relevant? So the solution, the 3-step solution for this question is here. First of all, you need to rediscover your customers. You need to identify the at-risk people and high-value people. You need to understand them better. You need to have a deep understanding who are your customers beyond what you know about them. And then when you know them, when you know the right group of people, then you need to re-engage with the vital ones. Say in a fitness business, the vital ones could be the high-risk people, means those who are going to leave in 2-3 months, and the most valuable one, those that actually they are very valuable to you, they have the potential, they have the money to spend, but they don't know how to do this, and you haven't figured out them yet. When you do these 2 steps, you go to last step, which is defining relationship. Then you define that, then you have a new level of engagement. Automatically, you can see boost in retention, in customer satisfaction, and in revenue. They're all connected to each other. Conventionally, most of the business handles that. Let me give you some example. So conventional approach is that you're going to look at your data somehow and come up with some rules. You might say, if member has not came to the club for 60 days, okay, something is wrong, contact member. Or if member spending is in top 5%, this sounds good, send an email to member. If member has registered only for 4 sessions, you have a session-based business, and one member comes and registers only in 4 sessions, you might say, I'm not sure, let's call member to see how is it going, what's going on. So this is basically a conventional approach. But we suggest that we need to move to a data-driven approach. What is the data-driven approach? Data-driven approach means you have to move from data to insight. What does that mean? You need to go to a couple of steps. One, you need to make your business a data-focused business. You need to collect relevant data as much as possible. For doing that, you need an efficient and well-designed architecture. So this is the first part. The second part, you need to make your business a data-driven business. It means make your business decisions on your insight from the collected data. And the last step is very important. Do not afraid, because sometimes they are totally counterintuitive, and you need to make your decisions. Why this is important? I have just 2 single quotes. The first one from IDC report, 2015. Buying and selling data will become the new business bread and butter. Your data is important. It's not about fitness business anymore. It's about the data business. You can see some other companies also move toward business, such as Nest. Google acquired Nest because of the data. Airbnb is data business. Facebook is data business. And the second one is well-known quote from Edward Deming. He says, without data, you are just another person with an opinion. And we have seen businesses who move without data, they fail. A good example, if you have watched the movie Moneyball, it's a great example how they handle this. Basically, in the movie, Billy Beane is the manager of the baseball team, and he is going to hire, and he hired Peter Brand. Peter Brand is data guru guy. So Peter Brand tells Billy Beane that people who run ball clubs, they think in terms of buying players. You watch a player, you like him, you like her, and you are going to hire the player. But he says your goal shouldn't be to buy players. You have to buy wins, and to buy wins, you have to buy runs. What does it mean? It means that even in that level, you need to go down to the data. Collect as much as possible. It's not about the player. The player is a combination of all data you're going to gather. And then he says that to win a game, you have to buy runs, because buy runs means buy wins. And then I don't want to go to the rest of the movie, but we believe that we have to do the same thing in all industries, across all industries. We have to make everything data-driven. And how do you do that? But data-driven, you're going to make models based on data automatically. You need to make models. One model fits all. You might have several models. You might have thousands of rules, but rules that apply in different corners of your data. The first step to make a clean version of data, this is very painful, but this is very interesting. There is no way that you can go around this. Literally no one likes this because you have to spend lots of time. But this is the main important step for a data-driven approach. A second one, you have to make relevant features. The features say if you want to study the people who are going to join your club and why they are leaving, you might say if they don't come to my club, say for 60 days, I'm going to call them. But you need to think about everything around these people. You might look at the features such as the day they join, the month of the year that they join, the time of the day they come. Are they come regularly in the morning, or in the morning and afternoon at nights? Are they weekender people or not? Are they come early morning or late night? Do they come to the club alone? Do they have family? Where do they live? How do they think? Are they price shopper, or are they brand loyal? I mean, all these things you need to bring to the table to understand the person better. And those are those features that you think is important. And also during this process, you talk to your managers, to your general managers, to C-level people, to see what they think, to make sure all those features also captured in the process. And then you build the model and let the data talk to you. And then you are going to interpret results. Some major approach in data mining, I'm just quickly go over that to see how it might help. What is the persona, the abstraction, how you talk about a group of people as one persona, or time series. Time series could be the look at the check-in of your customers, your members, and see what would be the next check-in for a person. Regression, how you put people in group. Or deviation, this is mostly, for example, for outlier detection or fraud detection. Or classification, how you go and find people who are in the same segments. Association, this the good example for association could be Amazon model or Netflix model. Those who like A also like B. And then segmentation, everybody's familiar with it. You look at data and you would like to find segments. Rather than defining your segments in advanced segmentation, find the natural segments in your data and try to explain it. And lookalike model is also very important. You have a group of people, you have one person, you want to see who else is like this. You might use this for acquisition as well. So these are generally the type of models that you are going to use. But the key in data mining is that you need to update your model. Assume this is your population. Based on that, you come up with sort of segmentation. Is this good enough? No. In January, you need to make one, and you need to update model. In February, you need to do the same. In March, you do the same. And you keep doing this, updating your model and updating your knowledge. Data is not something that you can rely for a long time. It gets spoiled so fast. People change. People move. People move from one brand to another brand, from one location to another location, from one shop to another shop. And you need to understand that, and you need to act in advance to make sure that you have all your customers and you need to answer the issues in advance. And you need to keep doing this. How you do this, you analyze and then generalize your model and then act. Based on act, then you assess that how it worked. And then based on that, you are going to modify your rules and then analyze. And you keep doing this over and over and over. Okay, but one side effect of this is that whenever you see these models, there are three groups of rules and knowledge you discover. The bottom 40%, you might say, been there, done that. I mean, I went through data-driven, and hey, whatever I see, I already know about them. What's new? What's new here? The second level is the 30%. Usually 30%, you might say, oh, very interesting. Actually, I didn't know this. This is very good. I need to move ahead. Move forward with this knowledge and implement it with this insight. But the last part on the top, which sometimes 30%, 25%, is the one that is totally counterintuitive and might give you a headache. You might say, no way, really? And this is the type of knowledge and insight that you really need to pay attention. Because otherwise, you're basically ignoring the power of your data. There are lots of C-level executives that I have seen that they might ignore the 30%. They might say, hey, this is totally counterintuitive. I didn't know that. But when they go along with the data and knowledge and insight, they definitely answer some of the issues that are already there. Because what are you talking is all about the data. They're not making any assumption here. So let's go back to our original problem. Then we had a group of people, and we wanted to know who's who, basically. Who, when, and how. Let's focus on 4 of these guys, for example. You have 4 people. And you would like to know that to whom should you talk. Let's focus on 2 factors of this group of people. I would suggest let's focus on risk and value. The predictive analysis to determine targets for your engagement. You need to only talk to, say, 2 groups of people. Those who are at risk, then you look at the value. Is this person who are at risk means she is going to live in 2-3 months? Is she high value or not? High value means that the potential value to spend and the value that she's spending. And I tell you how you measure that. But these are the major, assume the major metrics that you want to target. Okay, how you do this? First of all, you can see that sometimes, based on our understanding, you might look at 100 data points to 200 data points to just predict one simple metric, which is risk or value. It's not the case that you can predict it like easily by looking at one factor. Usually, there are lots of features, lots of data points that you have to look at. Okay, then here's the risk cycle. The customer comes to your club. The customer comes to your business. Generally speaking, I try to put 4 states. 1, new customer, and then active, and then risky, and then cancel. And then the question is, people might go from new customers to risky state. Some people might go to active. And your goal is to focus on the red ones. Basically, you're trying to from risky to active, from new customer to active, and keep the active people active. This is the main idea. And to do this, the machine learning algorithm that you use, as we mentioned here, for the risk, you might look at like classification, time series, regression, deviation, and lookalike model. And for the value, you might look at the lookalike model, segmentation, regression, persona, and classification. So a combination of all, you need to define the risk and value. Then how you do this? This is what I believe we need to do that. This is how you do. First of all, you need the data. You need to big data. Big data probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago was not easy to achieve. Data now is cheap. The RAM is cheaper. Hard disk is cheaper. Everything is cheaper. So you can handle a huge amount of data. You can have trillion of data, terabyte of data. Still, you should be able to process that in a matter of minutes or seconds or hours. Depends on the metrics that you are calculating. So there are four groups of data you can see. First of all is static data. Static data could be the age, gender, say value of the house, salary, zip code, months of the enrollment, things that it's kind of static. It wouldn't change much. Yes, age changes, but over a year. So you have enough time to analyze one person. Dynamic data is the one that the type of data that moves faster, like check-ins, purchase, companionship, time of the day of the week. This is more behavior of the people in the business who comes to your club. And then club data, type of membership, amenities, hours of operation, the staff. So these are all important. The type of data you never thought about it, or maybe you thought about it, but you should make sure that you send it through the entire operation. And then personal data, habits, interests, opinions, affiliations, lifestyle, brand preference. These are important because they define people. And this is how people get to the, say, fitness and how they exit from the fitness. And then on the bottom, you can see two space. On the left side, basically, this is your business data, more or less. Customer demographics and information, you have it. This should be your CRM and check-ins. Business data and operation, customer purchase service and products, transaction data. These are the type of data that you have in your business. And the last one is weather and economy and social factor. These are important. We cannot deny that weather has an effect on most of the businesses. Or economy. When economy is good, people might spend on luxury market, for example. All these things are important. You have to enter to your model. On the right side, then you can see that you add to this demographics, household information, psychographics, and financials. Basically, the summation of these two, when you marry these two data together, you have a much better understanding of your customers. And the next step is how would you go ahead and utilize this data. There are a couple of ways to use this. I just focus on 4 types of intelligence that you can extract. The first one is content intelligence. You extract valuable information from conversation databases, such as interest, intent, complaint, compliment, timing, all these things. Consumer intelligence is about personality, brand preference, shopping behavior, and companion. Personality is important. If you know someone is brand loyal, if you know someone is price shopper, those are big difference in terms of the offers that you might go and offer the person. And the business intelligence. Business intelligence talk about at-risk people, high-value people, engaged, who are not engaged. Those who come and go and they're not engaged in anything else, not in social media, not in the club, not outside of the club. Or high share of wallet. You should be able to know that what is the percentage of share of wallet you get from this person. If other people in the same demographic, in the same category, if they are spending $100 in the fitness and health, for example, and wellness, and you look at one person and you see, oh, I am getting only $50, that means your share of wallet is $50, it's 50%. But if you look at other people in the same demographic, you see everybody actually in your business bringing 75%. So that means this person has the potential, she is interested, he is interested, but they are going to invest, to spend their money somewhere else. So these are information that you need to know before talking to people. And finally is the operation intelligence. When, what, and who, the right offer to the right person. When you have all this information, then your information would be very meaningful. Because everybody has their own story. You can see that different people might have different risk level, different value level, different frequency level, different personality, interest, and insight. So assuming we have Jane, okay, do we know Jane's story or not? This is a good example. So if this is Jane, and we know Jane is in high risk, if we look at Jane in our model, where is Jane here? So we are looking at Jane and say, okay, Jane is a risky person. That means Jane is going to quit in maybe 2 or 3 months. That's what the model says. Why? Because our model, because the data mining, the algorithm, machine learning, whatever we build, the system believes that Jane is risky state for 80% and Jane is active person 20%. So everything should be probabilistic because you're not sure about like 100% about anything. And then you might ask, okay, what should I do? Then your model also tells more interesting thing. Your model says that Jane has 50% to move from risky to cancel, 20% being risky, being in doubt. She's not sure if she want to continue this sessions, this yoga sessions she goes, the whole entire club experience. And 30%, there is a chance that Jane might get back to active state. How do we know that? Basically, the machine look at all data you had in the past and see how other people look alike to Jane actually move from active state to risky state to cancellation or get back to active states. And then try to figure out what is the best scenario for Jane. And this is what it comes up. It says that based on all I know from your data and from whatever I know about Jane, this is the risk level for Jane, and these are all probabilities. So basically, we try and we suggest that at this stage, you have to read the machine to read the palm of your customers. And this is not easy. The machine look at 100, 200 data points for one single decision that if Jane is a risky person or if she is not at risk. And to do that, it's not easy that you go over paper and pencil to figure out what is going on. You might have some rules might work, but the whole idea has to make this more accurate and more efficient. And when you talk about James, now Jane come up with some interesting factor. Jane risk is high, value is high, frequency is 2 times per month, she's a spender, she's fashionista, her interest is weight loss, high share of wallet. That means she's spending a lot here, but she's at risk. Is she social? Yes, she is social, active, and connected. She comes to the club with friends. This could be a very crucial factor. If some of her friends might be quitted already, and she's about to quit. And the companion, you have to look at all check-ins from one person and probably everybody else in the club to figure out that who comes with who. And usually machines can find this over a period of 2 to 3 months. And then you have to look at the consistency as well. Consistency is important. It's very low. That means she comes only 2 times per month, but even she's not consistent on that. Sometimes she comes at the beginning of the month. Sometimes she comes at the beginning, at the end of the month. Could be sometimes Monday, sometimes Friday. So she's not consistent. And then we look at her profile and we see, okay, actually she's an Apple and Burberry fan, and that means that how she's going to spend her money, even though she's a student, she's a renter, and she's single. So then in terms of offer, you might think, okay, based on all I know right now, the machine offers, okay, one, you might talk to her about the personal training sessions, the personal trainer that you have, they should go and talk to her. And also you might say, hey, why you're not using Fitbit, for example? Because with Fitbit, you can follow, you can bring all this data to my trainer, so everybody actually will be focused on her interest, which is the weight loss. So this is how you collect all data and bring focus to describe Jane and how to handle the issues that she's going to live in 2-3 months. In terms of the architecture, a simple architecture, let me go over this, very simple. Basically, you have your data, which is called client data. All these clients come to a cloud, and you have to marry that with some other databases to make sure that you understand better. So this is this is the cloud, this is the big data, that you don't need to pay for that. All you need to use that big data. And some other companies, such as Reunify, this is how they work. They have the big data, they bring the analytics. All you need to plug in and use it. You don't need to spend money to make this infrastructure. They're already built that infrastructure. And then when you have this data, when you have your data linked and enriched, means adding more features, adding more attributes to whoever you have in your club, then you run it through the analytics. Again, what companies, for example, such as Reunify, they have a great data scientist team that they can do this type of analytics. You don't need really to do this. All you need to send your data, get the analytics, and it comes up from an application. The application is ready in the hands of your people, your sales, your member services, your general manager, your all associates, whoever wants to use this. Now they can have the interaction that we were talking about. The interaction is very important and how it works. And then eventually it's very simple. You need to identify people, the vital customers. You go and spend quality time to address their issue, and you see the retention, customer satisfaction, and visit frequency goes up. And then the interaction that you have with the customer is very important. You need to analyze that. Assume that you talk to Jane, and Jane, your member services believes that Jane comes to work out almost every day, but she really loves Shannon's yoga class. She's frustrated. She cannot sign up all time, though. All these things that Jane says, we have to learn and turn that to insight. The insight of all this conversation goes that what is Jane's interest? Jane loves yoga. What is Jane's current mood? Negative. She is not happy at the moment. Jane's segment, she is at risk, but she is high value. Jane's segment, high lifetime value, engaged member. She's engaged because when you talk to her, she actually talks about the issue. So, and you would like to get a higher share of wallet of Jane. And what is the offer? Is it discount? Is it affordable product options? All the right offer you need to come up with, it goes here. So every conversation you have to crunch, and this is what we do at Reunify. Every conversation comes to an insight. We also, I'm going to also show you how we can expand this, extend it to broader conversations. So if someone such as Jane, somewhere at life, said that she just bought a pound of Starbucks coffee, what does that mean? There are 2-3 steps that you should be able to do that, and this is what we do. You see someone purchase package of a Starbucks coffee. What do you learn? You learn that the Starbucks brand preference. You learn that she's a coffee drinker. You know that she's the type of person that brews coffee at workplace. So when you have this statistic and probabilistic model, what we build, each data point tells you a lot about the person. So you can see from one single sentence from the last slide and this slide, we should be able to extract about 20 data points. For example, in the second row, you can see that she uses actually social media. She's the type of person that actually shares her purchase on social media and take the type of phone. And then what we infer, you go that you don't need to exactly understand who is Jane, as long as you infer good information about Jane and use that information for the right engagement and to go and talk about the right offer to address the Jane issue. And at the end, what does it mean for your business? So when you do this, the improvement in major business metrics, you can see the increment in customer retention, visit frequency, customer satisfaction, and customer spending. These are all depends on your business, how big or small is the business, doesn't matter. For small clubs, as small as 500 to 1,000, all the way to 15,000 or 30,000. For any type of hotel, for example, or airline businesses, anybody that you can know who is coming to your business, this model applies. And basically, the focus is on these 4 great metrics: customer retention, visit frequency, customer satisfaction, and customer spending. And I hope that you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed this conversation. I am ready for questions, thought if anybody has question. And this is also my information. I'll be happy to connect if you have any question, or you would like to that we look at your data and see how it goes, or you would like to try the product that we built. Give me a call, shoot me an email. I'll get back to you right away.
Also, hey, Jafar, thank you so much. And attendees, I can't reinforce enough. Jafar just gave you a free offer here to take a look at your data and give you an assessment. Please take him up on that offer. This guy is one of the folks that's actually doing the things that he's presenting and not just, kind of talking through processes. He's actually in the trenches making it happen. And Jafar, while our attendees kind of frame out some questions using the question interface and the control panel, let me get started with some really straightforward questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely.
So, as a club owner or operator, how do we get started with Reunify? How are you working with customers?
Basically, we integrate with their backbone, whatever they have. Say, if your data is in Motionsoft backbone, for example, we are going to integrate with Motionsoft. If you are in Salesforce, we are going to integrate with Salesforce. If you are with MindBody, whoever is your backbone, if even you have your homegrown backend that you already developed, we simply integrate with that. We know how to do it. We have a great team of engineers that do the integration, and then all we need, we get a set of features from you. We add our data to this data, marry with them, and deliver in terms of one dashboard in hands of your operation people. It's very straightforward. It doesn't take much of time. We already passed many stages. The product that we design is really good for big operators, big clubs, and small clubs, and even not in the fitness industry, for hospitality and other industry, it works as well.
So let me turn to some questions from our attendees, Jafar, and one from Mike that just came in. Who, if anyone, in the club industry is doing this well? I mean, I certainly have, my two pennies, and would love to get your, kind of validation. But, certainly Equinox seems to be, kind of, I would almost say strides ahead of other clubs in terms of how they're looking at data, how they leverage an operational database. Is there something that they're doing specifically that you think other clubs can mirror in their operations?
Everybody is moving to be a data-focused business, no question. I have seen that. But what our focus is building the big data and marry that with whatever data that you might have. And that's a huge advantage because you don't need to spend money on that one. We already spent a money. And then the analytics, building analytics, you need a group of data scientists that actually can eat and drink data on a daily basis. And this is what you need. And this is basically what Reunify does. We bring these two capabilities. If you are at Equinox already, I know they are very great in terms of being a data focused, and these are basically makes the whole process much easier. You can do things faster and get to the point that you're looking for rather than 2 years in a couple of months, basically.
Let me kind of switch gears here. Svetoslav has a question and asks, who is actually analyzing all this data?
Sure. The whole data goes, a group of data scientist people build a machine learning algorithm. The machine learning algorithm job, for example, is to say, I would like to identify two classes, risky and not risky, for example. They build the algorithm, then after that, everything is totally automated. There is no human being involved unless after a while that we check some point, look at some corner cases, check the result, the sanity check and things like that. Because beside that, the algorithm is already built, the data API is already built. All we need to map your data to the database that we have, and we just run the whole A to Z operation.
Let me drill down, because actually Veslav has a follow-on question, and I think it's related to the learnings and insights slide that you had. And he references whether or not he should ask receptionists to record all the data they gather from members, which kind of leads to, how are we inputting data as a club, and what data should we be inputting?
I assume most of the clubs, the way they operate, usually they call people or send an email. And I'm not going to talk about the efficiency of this technique. Dr. Bedford already mentioned how ineffective is that model. The model that we are talking is more about the face-to-face conversation with the member, but the conversation that you have in terms of note, it goes to the entire engine, and we extract whatever we can and whatever as a C-level person or the owner of the club you are interested to know. You might say interested that, hey, I want to know if anybody is a basketball fan or college sports fan. So those type of conversation comes up during this conversation. Then people have the T-shirt. The associate might say the member had this T-shirt. All these facts and insight that you would like we extract, and it goes to offer model, because eventually there are two things. One, you want to make sure that there is no issue. Any issue that the member has, you want to address that. And the second one is that, okay, the member is happy, how you make her happier. And or if she's looking for any offer that she haven't heard, you go ahead and say, hey, you know what, we have a new session. Hey, you know what, we have a new powder for nutrition. All these things comes within that conversation. And we have a track record. It works, and it improves heavily in terms of the retention and customer satisfaction. Did I answer the question, or should I elaborate more? So.
We'll find out here in a second. Setislav, if you want to respond, that'd be great. And attendees, this is your chance to ask Jafar any questions you may have. I've got a number of questions coming through. Jafar, just to follow on from Vedislav's question, yes, you answered it perfectly, so thank you. Let me turn to Rob, and Rob has an interesting question in terms of the length of period that data should be recorded. And his question is, where I have done this type of work, I have typically taken data as far back as 6 years. Is it necessary to look back this far in the past? You suggested that you were refitting these models every month. Is that correct?
Yes, you need enough data to understand a member behavior. That's no question. That enough data could be, as Rob mentioned, maybe up to 6 years, less or more. But there are some major economic factor also comes in that you need to consider that. But we have seen that people, you need to update your model on a monthly basis. Seasonality is one effect. We already know about it. But people change their mind. People might change in terms of a couple of quarters, and you can see that because you would like to measure the efficacy of your interaction of the member. So you need to get updated in a daily basis that how was it effective or not. And you can see from also Dr. Paul Bedford's presentation, interaction in 1 month means the increase in visit for right the month after that. So it could be you could have a monthly based business, you could have session based business. You need to monitor that. But for the depth of the data, how long you want to go back in the data to figure out, at least a couple of years to have a better understanding. But the beauty of external data that we bring to the picture is that if you have no clue, you have no idea, there's a new member and you have no idea. But if I know for any reason that this person is a beauty person, for example, and not a fashionista, or she is a fashionista and not is a totally different personality, that you could see that fashionista might quit your club for another club which is hot in the neighborhood, for example, or in the town, because she's always follow the fashion. So the fashionista could tag high risk from day one that she joins the club. And the beauty person, she is looking for beauty and more in fitness, she might be as a low risk. So these data also is quite important. Sometimes you need to look back enough. Sometimes some data points might tell you a lot about the person, comparing to the stage that you have no idea or no data about the member.
Awesome, thanks, Jafar. Hey, Kara, Don, Deanna, Jason, Lauren, Marlo, Marty, please, this is your session. I want to make sure that you're getting your questions answered. Please use the question interface inside the control panel to pose your questions now. Jafar, I have a question from Terry that I'd like to present to you. And it's really it's a good process question, and I think it's one that I think a lot of club owners and operators really need to understand. Terry's question is, how do you capture these conversations in the data?
Exactly, that's great. First of all, the product that we have runs on is a web app. That means you can use iPad, you can use tablets, any kind of tablet, any kind of iPad, mini iPad, or PC or laptop works just fine. So what we practice, your member services people go and talk to members, and they just start typing. Couple of sentences would be enough for a conversation. We also measure how much they spend time, because at the end of the month, you would love to measure the performance of your people as well. So we would like to see how much time you spend for each person. What was the talking points? We go over talking points and extract that and see, did you talk about the interest of the people? Did you talk about their issues? Did you talk about why they didn't come to the club? So these are major things that are my NLP people, natural language processing scientists here I have, they go and extract this and just deliver, but what you see is just the nuggets of that. The whole idea is that, and we can add that to any type of other conversation you have via email or via phone call with the member. We can send all this conversation, extract the nuggets. Right now, it's easily type in. People can type as fast as they type on their phone. They can type here, couple of sentences, one member, and we measured less than 5 minutes engagement is what is enough to see the effects that Dr. Bedford was saying a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome, thanks, Jafar. And Terry, as a follow-up to your question, I mean, I know you're asking how do we capture the information. I think Jafar's product with Reunify, kind of simplifies that process, but I think you're still going to need to figure out when you do it, whether it's with your PT trainers and whether it's during the initial kind of assessment with members, or whether it's the post-workout. So something to think about from that perspective as well too. Jafar, transition, or please jump in.
Just let me add one sentence. We have figured out that, I mean, the product we built is make that the whole process easier. First of all, you don't need to talk to everybody. We identify at-risk people and high-value people. Say 50 people are in your business right now. We identify only maybe 2 people to talk to. And if you cannot talk right now because they're in a rush, they want to go to class, you just add in the queue list. You can talk on their way back, or talk tomorrow, or because the next time, you predict the next time that she's in. So you say, okay, I'm going to talk to her in 2 days. So we always help you to find the right time to have the conversation. Could be your PT, could be your GM, could be your associate GM, or anybody else. Thanks, Doc.
Hey, thank you, Jafar. Hey, let me transition over to Jason. Interesting question, a little bit longer. Let me read it for you. In regards to defining value and engagement, the dirty little secret of the fitness industry is that there is a great bottom line value in a paying member that retains uninvolved. We need more paying members than the club can actually handle. How do you figure in the value of this category of client and balance it with manageable usage?
Exactly. I mean, one part of the value is that generally people look at the amount of dollar that a member spends in the club, and you always have a rank of everybody, and you say that this member is like in top 5% or bottom 10%. That's everybody can do that. But the idea is that what is the share of wallet that you are getting, and by that, for example, we can look at, say, we can make it simpler. Look at the zip code of the member, and you can predict the value of the house. There's lots of things that you can predict. And then you can, the entire population that fits in that particular segment that that member is, and you can simply see that even though that he is in top 5% of, say, people who are spending money, but there is lots of potential. That means the share of wallet that you are getting is not as much as that you need to get. So that value comes from probably about 50 data sources just combined together to give you one number. And usually for different clubs, it has different meaning, because different clubs have different geographical location, different demographics, different type of people, and you could have a different share of wallet. Like say if average family in the United States spends say $35 for fitness, that's wrong data. That's just the mean. It doesn't mean much. For your business, we need to calculate a right number. That where do you sit and where your members are within that category. And if you need to know more, feel free to email me. We can just talk on the phone. I can go over the detail of what we do without any hesitation.
Yeah, and I think Jafar, it's also interesting to note that I think that dirty little secret's not going to last for long. I mean, I think as an industry, we can't continue to have members who are uninvolved. I mean, I think that's where a lot of firms that are playing in the mobile app space and tapping into members that are outside of our four walls are competing with us indirectly, and at the same time kind of cannibalizing our member base to engage individuals that have physical activities that are not measured or tracked inside of our club. So certainly something to keep in mind. Rob has a good question here. What data points do you always add from the outside external environment?
Sure, great question. The simple answer is as much as we can, but generally we add demographics and psychographics and opinion, anything related to value and the salary in income, things like that. It comes. If we identify the social media of the person, if either we connect to your social connector, some clients actually provide that to us, which makes it easier. If not, if we can match, say, the Twitter ID to the person, because some people talk or people have their exact name and things like that. We have built that already to match several data structure and databases to each other, and these are all publicly available database. These are all publicly available database, but we spent about 2-3 years to connect them to each other, and we bring these data points. And what you need to know, that let me give you a simple example. If you want to know if someone is a fan of, say, ESPN or not, watching ESPN or not, so 2 people, and all you know that one person went to Nordstrom and the other one had a Gatorade. Based on our probabilistic models, we say that the person who had Gatorade has a higher chance to watch ESPN, and the person who went to Nordstrom has a lower chance. You might say, hey, you have some examples in mind that actually counter example, but these are all probabilistic models. These are all probabilistic models, but we make them more accurate on a daily basis. And we infer, when we bring these data points, we infer what is good for your business. You can just simply think, a simple data points that might change entire your operation is that if you know the value of the house of your members, like Zillow provides that. There is nothing hidden over there. Zillow provides that, and there are lots of other databases that you can get even from Census. Census is amazing data sources that we already consume Census data to add to what we have here. And if Rob, if you need more information, we can talk offline or about the other data points that we can add.
Attendees, we still have a few minutes left. If you'd like to pose a question, please use the question interface inside of the control panel. Jafar, while our attendees are kind of composing some final questions here, maybe one more question for myself, and that is, how do we need to staff to support your services at the club level?
What we realized that there are 2 groups of clubs, generally speaking. One is that they have some people that they can do extra work, and some that they want to do the minimum level. Literally, they don't have anybody. And what the design of the product is that the entire staff, all of them might spend 1 hour all together. That means I spend maybe 10-15 minutes, you spend another 15 minutes, and we need to talk about, say, 10 people on a daily basis. And it goes to 300 people at the end of the month. And 300 people has a major effect on your attrition. So the product is extremely user-friendly. It's as easy as your iPhone or Android. It's very easy to use. The reports are very easy to use for the general manager. And you can just monitor the staff performance. And you can use it even yourself as a GM, for example. That's how it works. The idea was that the people should actually believe in genuine customer service, a genuine interaction, and genuine relationship with the customer. That's the culture you need to build. After that, these kind of tools work just fine.
Jafar, I think this has been a very enlightening session. Let me give you a chance to kind of wrap up some key takeaways for our attendees, and we'll go ahead and close things up.
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
No, please. I'd love just to get your key takeaways from your presentation,
okay, sure.
just to keep our
Sure.
attendees engaged.
Sure, Wes. Okay, I mean the first step I think that I taught is that the interaction and engagement with member is important, no question, and this is the key issue for lots of businesses, especially in fitness industry. To do that, you need to identify who are the type of members, which member you need to talk to, and what is the topic of a conversation. To do this, you need to get your data, analyze data, identify those people, and then talk to them. That touch, that conversation, that genuine interaction will change entire thing. Even it addresses your acquisition problem. You don't need to go to neighborhoods, to the city, and talk about your business. If you have happy people, they go talk on Twitter, they go share on Facebook, they go put on Instagram, they talk about these things. And happy customers bring new people, and lots of research already shown that. So the question is that, do you would like to move to a customer-centric, means that pay attention to the relationship with your customer, not through email or phone calls. They have done that in the past. They keep doing this. And you know the result, that most of the time it doesn't work. A genuine face-to-face conversation is the key.
Awesome. Thank you, Jafar. And attendees, thank you for joining us today for the Science of Customer Engagement. Again, our next session will be on Tuesday, November 17th with Darren Allen, President and CEO of Visual Fitness Planner. And we'll dig into our sales and automation and analytics track with technology-enabled sales automation, member engagement, and analytics insights. You can sign up for webinars by going to the Motionsoft Technology Summit website at motionsofttechnologysummit.com. This will conclude our webinar for today. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Jafar.
much. I appreciate it.